Hey, it's Kyle here, and today I'll be reviewing Ahsoka by E.K. Johnston. This book came out in 2016, but I actually just did recently read it. It's one of those books I'd always wanted to read, but I never got around to, because anytime I was in the mood to read a new Star Wars book, a new series that came out, and I was kind of focusing on those. And a lot of times, some of these standalone Star Wars books, it can take me a little bit of time to get to them just because I get busy reading the series and stuff. But I'd always kind of wanted to read this one. But with the new Ahsoka series coming out on Disney Plus, I figured this was the perfect time to read the book and kind of just reconnect with the character Ahsoka before I go into the series. Kind of a similar vein, I've been rewatching Rebels, just getting fully immersed in everything Ahsoka before the series comes out, which I'm super excited about. And I'll say, I'm very happy to say I really enjoyed this book. I thought it was excellent. Did a great job with the character Ahsoka. I know sometimes when there's a character you get to know in one medium first and they transfer it to a different one, sometimes the character doesn't feel the same. And obviously, like everybody fell in love with the character in Clone Wars and Rebels. So when you see a book form, you just don't know, like with a different person writing the character, like, is it still going to feel like Ahsoka? And I think E.K. Johnston really nailed it. This definitely felt like Ahsoka. At no point when I was reading this, like, this doesn't really feel like the same character that I was watching in Clone Wars or later in Rebels. So she did an amazing job with that. So kudos to the author in that regard. One thing before I get too much into the specifics of the book that I want to mention, as I said, this book was written in 2016. So since this book, Season 7 of the Clone Wars just came out, and then you also had the Ahsoka episodes and Tales of the Jedi. And in both those have items that basically slightly change Ahsoka's story from how it was done in this book. Obviously, when they did this book, they didn't really know they were going to do a 7th season of Clone Wars and explore more of Ahsoka's storyline, that period. And so you do have some minor contradictions. And like I said, they're minor. It's nothing major. It's just small little details here, like where a certain event happens. Maybe it's a different planet, or the timeline's a little bit different. But I'd say in general, it still kind of matches up. So I don't think it's anything too big. But like I said, I think the more important reason to read this book before the series is just to reconnect to the character and kind of get to feeling of like, oh yeah, this is what Ahsoka's like. This is how she views the universe. This is how she views the Force. This is how she views rebellion, how she views helping people, all that type of stuff. So even though this book is not necessarily 100% Ahsoka's canon anymore, I still highly recommend it. The book covers the period between her leaving the Jedi Order and her deciding to become a rebel and get involved in the rebellion, and what happened to kind of make her decide to make that transition from basically going into like self-imposed exile to like, no, I need to get involved again. Like I said, the parts of the book I really enjoyed. Character Ahsoka was written amazingly well. I really became attached to a lot of the secondary characters that were introduced in this book that we had, never met before, and honestly haven't met since then. But did a great job. A lot of times, sometimes with these one-off characters, I'm okay, whatever. But these characters were very interesting, very well written. Now, again, the author did an amazing job with that. I also enjoyed how Inquisitor was brought in. I've always kind of enjoyed Inquisitor-related content. I've always wanted to see more. And I think this book did an excellent job of bringing the Inquisitors in and kind of telling a part of the storyline from their point of view, which I thought was an interesting, cool choice. And we also get some Bail Organa, and we get to see like some of the early stages of the rebellion, which I loved. I'm always very excited when Bail shows up in any Star Wars content, so I really love that he got to make an appearance in this book. But basically, kind of very basic plot. I don't want to get too detailed so I don't spoil anything, but again, Ahsoka's kind of in hiding. She's trying to avoid all attention and just disappear, basically. So she's not using the Force. She's purposely trying not to do anything that would draw attention to herself. So she's living the most quiet life possible. But for a variety of reasons, when the book starts, the first planet she was hiding on, she had to save somebody at a certain point, and you know the rumors started being like, oh, that was a strange occurrence, and Ahsoka decides to flee the first sign that stormtroopers are showing up. So she makes her way to this kind of remote moon in the Outer Rim, Rada, which I believe I'm pronouncing correctly. Very small place. Empire's not even there yet. It's so small, it's not really worth their attention. And she kind of settles in as a mechanic to help the farmers in the area, which is pretty much an agricultural moon. And she meets Kaden, which I believe I'm pronouncing her name correctly, but a very interesting character I really enjoyed a lot. She's very active in the local farming community with the other workers, and she's the one that really introduces Ahsoka into the community of the moon and kind of gets her engaged a little bit, and also kind of begins the position where Ahsoka is trying to avoid making connections and ties to people, so she doesn't care, but she quickly becomes friends with these people. And I think that's the central part of this book, that as much as Ahsoka's trying to shut herself off, in the end she's a good person, and she's going to make connections with people. When she makes connections with people, she's going to want to help them. And in the world where the Empire is, that means at some point you're going to have to make a decision, because you're probably going to have to stand up to the Empire to protect your loved ones. I won't really get into why, but the Empire shows up on the moon and begins the process of kind of dominating the moon and kind of turning in the local farmers into slave labor. And we see Ahsoka kind of take the first steps to becoming a rebel as she kind of starts to help build a resistance on the moon. And that's where I'm going to leave off the plot, because I don't want to spoil anything else for people who haven't read the book yet. But this book, through this storyline, really does show this transition excellent of Ahsoka being in exile to Ahsoka being a rebel, and basically seeing her where we meet her again in Star Wars Rebels. I'll say the only maybe weak point in the book to me is there's a official, kind of like a contractor, who works for the Empire, and he's the person who makes the decision that the Empire needs to go to this moon to exploit its resources. And that character I just never really enjoyed a whole lot. I felt like you could have lost that entire character, and the story would have been the exact same, and in some ways better, because every time we went to that character, I didn't really find him that interesting. I didn't really feel like he added anything to the story, and then towards the end of the book he just kind of disappears. So I think you could have lost at one point. This book would have been just as good, if not better. But other than that, there were really no weak points in the book for me. I really enjoyed it. It's a quick read, so if you're looking for a standalone book, I recommend you check this one out. If you're looking to kind of reconnect with Ahsoka before the series comes out, recommend this. Maybe if you're watching this review later and you've already watched the series, you're hungry for more Ahsoka content, I would definitely recommend Ahsoka by E.K. Johnston. So let me know in the comment section below, what is your favorite, content that Ahsoka's appeared in? Is it Clone Wars? Is it Rebels? Is it this book? If the series has come out, is now the series your favorite? Let me know. Hope you enjoyed this review. If you did, hit that like button. If you have yet, please subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate support. Thanks for watching. I'll see you the next time, and may the Force be with you.